On my first day at work, I accidentally sent an email to everyone in the company. Not just my team, not just my department, everyone. At that moment, I thought my career was over before it had even started. But what happened next was something I never expected. I arrived at the office feeling excited and nervous. It was my first full-time job. I wanted everything to go perfectly. I arrived early, dressed professionally, and smiled at everyone I met. I kept telling myself the same thing: don't make any mistakes. Unfortunately, that plan didn't last very long. The morning started well. The HR manager showed me around the office. I met my co-workers and learned where everything was. Everyone seemed friendly. For the first few hours, I felt like I was doing a good job. Then my manager asked me to send a simple email. That was when the trouble began. The email wasn't complicated. I only needed to send a short document to one coworker. I checked the file. I wrote the message. I attached the document. Everything looked fine. Without thinking too much, I clicked send. A few seconds later, I noticed something strange. Instead of sending the email to one person, I had sent it to the company mailing list. Hundreds of employees received my message. My heart immediately started racing. I stared at the screen. In complete silence. Maybe nobody would notice. Maybe nobody would open it. Maybe I could fix it somehow. Then the replies started arriving. One notification, then another, then 10 more. People were replying to everyone. My inbox exploded. Every few seconds, a new message appeared. Some people were confused. Some were asking questions. Some were simply saying, "Wrong email." I wanted to disappear. I quickly searched online. How to unsend an email. Unfortunately, it was too late. The email had already been delivered. I looked around the office. Everyone seemed busy. Nobody knew that I was having a small panic attack at my desk. At least, that's what I hoped. Then I noticed something even worse. My manager was in a meeting. I couldn't ask for help. For the next 30 minutes, I sat there imagining every possible disaster. Maybe they would think I was careless. Maybe they would regret hiring me. Maybe I wouldn't survive. My first day. The longer I waited, the worse my thoughts became. Finally, my manager returned. I walked to his office and told him everything. I expected him to be angry. I expected a lecture. Instead, he looked at me for a moment and asked, "Is that all?" I was confused. What did he mean? My manager started laughing. Not in a mean way, in a friendly way. Then he told me a story. On his first day at work, he had accidentally deleted an important file. The entire team had spent hours trying to recover it. Compared to that mistake, my email wasn't a big problem at all. For the first time that day, I relaxed. My manager told me to send a short apology email. So I did. I explained the mistake and thanked everyone for their patience. A few minutes later, people started replying again. But this time, the messages were different. Some employees shared stories about their own mistakes. One person accidentally booked the wrong flight for a business trip. Another ordered the wrong equipment for an entire department. Someone even admitted that they had once sent a private message to the CEO by accident. Suddenly, I didn't feel alone anymore. I thought the situation was over, but there was one final surprise. Later that afternoon, I received an email from the CEO. My hands started shaking again. I was sure this couldn't be good news. Slowly, I opened the message. The email was only one sentence long. It said, "Congratulations. You just introduced yourself to the entire company on your first day." Under the message was a smiley face. I couldn't believe it. I laughed out loud for the first time all day. I felt completely relaxed. When I left the office that evening, I thought about everything that had happened. The day had started with excitement, then came panic, then embarrassment, then relief. What felt like a disaster in the morning had become a funny story by the end of the day. That experience taught me something important. Everyone makes mistakes, especially when they're new. Most of the time, the mistake itself isn't the biggest problem. The real problem is the fear we create in our minds. Sometimes, things turn out much better than we expect. Thank you for listening to today's story. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some useful English along the way. If you'd like to improve your English through simple and interesting workplace stories, there are many more videos waiting for you on this channel. Choose another story and keep learning. English one story at a time. See you in the next story.